what do the people that have been with that person for years, what does their life look like? If it looks like garbage, odds are your life is going to look like garbage. Does that make sense? The probability of somebody making 10, 20, 30, 40 million plus dollars a year, you're talking about a very small percentage of people, but it's not impossible. If you're willing to do the work and you're willing to form the right partnerships, if you get around the right people, even if it's a startup, even if it's considered a mediocre opportunity, even if you're assuming a lot of the risk, you have a lot more potential for upside. It's all in alignment. If I'm looking at like, what are the two cheat codes in life? It's relationships and it's resources. That's the cheat code. If you want to supercharge your life, if you want to 10x your life for sales, for business, for life in general, you don't want to get marriage advice from somebody on their third marriage. What up, Larson?
What's up, brother?
Not much, dude. I'm going to try to rip this like 10, 15 minutes because then I'm going to try to rip another podcast and try to move along schedule. I pushed this up 15 minutes, so we'll see who all hops on. But let's start ripping. If you don't have any questions, I've got some things I've been putting in my notes I wanted to share with people, just concepts and general more high-level sales advice opposed to like how you can actually sell a product or service more. I feel like that's just more reps and obviously making sure you're working with good leads. But do you have any questions on your mind before I kind of jump in?
I actually do. So, are you guys planning, like in the future, once you guys get rolling more, are you gonna stick with only IUL still, or are you gonna do like eventually final expense and mortgage and?
So because the resource is marketed towards the IUL.
Yeah.
But anybody you talk to, regardless of like the marketing of leads, like I got a high level guy that's doing, what are you doing? $2 million a month right now? I got this guy sitting across from me. He's doing $2 million a month right now in the brokerage space. And he does all the marketing is internal. He handles it all. Or I would imagine he has a team that handles it all.
Yeah.
But even though I bet they have different lead concepts. If you get on the phone with that lead and they're like, I saw this, but I want to protect my mortgage. I saw this, but I want to do the opposite of what, like you sell the product in correspondence with what the person needs opposed to pushing the product of the marketing. Would you?
General life. Like a general life lead.
Yeah.
You find the need.
Yeah, you just kind of find the need. So like that's what we've been doing in regard to like, even though we have a marketing direction that we believe will be sustainable for the next decade, if not longer, where the client will always be the number one priority in regard to like, what does the client need? Well, like the biggest thing that helped me when I started to really crush in the captive space was like pretending I'm sitting across from my mom. And if you really love and care about your parents and respect and honor your parents, you're going to put the best product in place for your parents. And that's where you actually figure you're going to find wealth, because you might make less commission on the product that you're selling. But if the product stays on the books and you're earning renewals, you're technically going to make more money. And that by doing well to that client, the policy's not going to get flipped. It should stay on the books and they're going to send you referrals, et cetera. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Who do you have in the pod right now?
This is Ronnie Salem.
What's up, man? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Sir.
$2 million a month, huh?
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been in the space?
Since December only, so
No.
not very long.
Yeah, best industry out there, man. Put your head down, get to work.
Like
Yeah.
Seems like it.
I got him off Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got a killer leading
sir.
you, that's for sure.
Looks a little like Tanner.
Yeah.
He was just down here. Got Keaton Klinsky, Mark Majeski. Are you guys both Polish? Sound like Polish names. Jack.
Hold up, my camera's not working.
You're good, dude. Jack, you have other questions?
Is what's his name? Rint. Is he joining you now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're locked in.
Sick.
We're locked in, bro.
I don't think I have any other questions. Just came on to listen.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I got some stuff written down. Keaton, if you have any questions, feel free to rip. This has been on my mind for me looking at the last year of my life and literally quitting a gross $1 million a year entrepreneurship job. And I say entrepreneurship because I didn't own anything. So, I'm talking to Ronnie here in regard to like him owning his book of business and having the ability to sell his business, et cetera. I wasn't able to do that. Even though my 1099 had a gross $1 million after taxes, business expenses, you figure I was probably keeping maybe 100, 200,000, whatever. I typically find like if you're at least trying to build a business, you're probably only going to keep 10 to 20 points of the dollar that you're grossing. But guys, the biggest thing that if I had to form it as regret, the biggest thing that I would say in regard to my regret would be good people plus a mediocre opportunity will lead to a win, but bad people plus a great opportunity will still lead to a loss. Does that make sense? So like in regard to my decision making as a young man, getting into sales, getting into business, if you're not getting around the best people, if you're not looking and constantly like there should be no like these like for most times like you're getting into business, you're not getting into business with family. You're getting into business with strangers. And so there should be no like this false loyalty. Well, this is because I started with this individual, I started with that person, and because they brought me in and because they did this for me, I need to stay with them forever. No, you need to constantly be auditing the people that you're surrounding yourself with, because the people you surround yourself with, you become the sum of those individuals, not just today, but tomorrow. And that's what your life is going to look like. So I used to think to myself, I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm going to be a billionaire. I shouldn't say I still think this to myself, but I used to think it doesn't matter what my leadership, what my mentors have accomplished, because I believe in myself enough. That is not enough. You need to get around people that are also leveling up in correspondence to the size of your vision. The size of the people that you keep around you determine the size of the results that you're going to generate. Keep smaller people and smaller mentors, you're going to have smaller results, smaller life in every aspect of your life. Does that make sense? So as I break down, like people be like, well, how should I do this? How should I select this opportunity? I'm like, listen, let me say specifically to the insurance space, brokerage and captive. If you find a bad person in the brokerage space and they've got this awesome looking deal, but you are going to work with a bad person, if you go work with a bad person, it'll always be a loss. Now, how you determine how that's going to be bad is you have to come up with like not just emotions, like scientifically break down very simply, what do you want your mind, your body, your spirit, your finances to look like? And what does their life look like in all of those aspects? Now, we're talking about business, so your number one focus should be finances. What do the people that have been with that person for years, what does their life look like? If it looks like garbage, odds are your life is going to look like garbage. Does that make sense? So it's like I'm looking at these people in reference to my past of like, yo, who am I past is making 10, 20, 30, 40 plus $1 million a year? I can't think of anybody. I can think of maybe one person that's been with the company for 40 plus years. And now the probability of somebody making 10, 20, 30, 40 million plus dollars a year, you're talking about a very small percentage of people, but it's not impossible. If you're willing to do the work and you're willing to form the right partnerships, if you get around the right people, even if it's a startup, even if it's considered a mediocre opportunity, even if you're assuming a lot of the risk, you have a lot more potential for upside. It's all in alignment. If I'm looking at like, what are the two cheat codes in life? It's relationships and it's resources. That's the cheat code. If you want to supercharge your life, if you want to 10x your life for sales, for business, for life in general, you don't want to get marriage advice from somebody on their third marriage. You don't want to get billionaire advice from somebody who's never made more than $1 million. I'm not giving you billionaire advice. I can give you gross $1 million advice. I can't give you a liquid $1 million advice. I can give you gross $1 million advice. I've grossed millions of dollars. I don't have a liquid $1 million. This is like individuals that understand this is everything when it comes to business, life. In every aspect of your life, you have to be constantly analyzing, is this the right person I should even allow around me? It's not enough to think like, should I allow this person to mentor me? Like you're inevitably going to get fed, in a sense, like what other people have in regard to their life by allowing them to be around you. Does that make sense? It's like why you you constantly have to be auditing. Does this person deserve to be around me? If they're going out drinking, partying, smoking, chasing women, not locked in, not working, those are losers. Get rid of them. God has so much more in store for you if you're willing to get uncomfortable with your relationships in the sense of, I got to let this person go. Let them go. They ain't making you better. Let them go. They ain't helping you get to another level in your relationship with the Lord. Let them go. They ain't helping you get to another, level in relationship with your money. Let them go. With your body, let them go. Let the losers go. And some people, it's like they'll get into this mindset of, well, this person was a winner because they're making $100,000 a year. Well, if you want to constantly be surrounded by six-figure individuals, then stay in that room. But if you want to go into the next room, you've got to figure out what's the price to get into the next room, pay that price and get there sooner. You've only got one life. You've got one life. You have to pay the price as soon as possible, pay off ignorance, and you do that through being okay with being upset and upsetting others. You're going to be embarrassed. You're going to feel uncomfortable, and you have to be all right with that. Like there's no other way around it. Like I have to be okay with being embarrassed on social media, getting people to tell me no, receiving rejection over and over and over and over again, not feeling comfortable with new workouts, new level up, new diet. Like in regard to my life and leveling up, you have to be okay with receiving the discomfort, receiving the rejection. Low quality leads to loss of life. Might as well go build your own stuff. This is what I put in my notes. So I was thinking to myself, and I put this on social media yesterday. It's like when it comes to if you're operating within a business right now and you're cold calling and you're giving up a large percentage of your commission, like I don't even know if it's worth it for 100% of the commission for you to work a low quality resource. I don't know if it's worth you giving up your life. I wish I had a whiteboard right now because I would show you when you are building something. And so like these free lead models and I'm talking in general in sales. Like this is how I analyze it. If I'm in a free lead model, first off, if somebody is saying something is free, I don't know if I trust them as much because I know there's a cost to everything. Typically free is a lot more expensive than expensive. And what I mean by that is free is usually it's meaning that it's very low quality. And low quality is going to require you to sift and work a lot more. And so business is not a matter of collecting adversities and collecting scars. A lot of people get it twisted and think like, well, how can I go through the most damage as possible? Businesses aren't meant to bleed. They're meant to prosper. Like you measure your success in business by how much you keep, how well you do, how profitable the business is. Like if you talk to a billionaire or you think of like a principal of a billionaire like Warren Buffett, I believe he's famous for saying, don't even lose a penny. And so when I analyze these sales models that have typically like a free lead model, a low quality lead model, what I'm looking at is how much time does it require me to convert and generate profit? And typically it's 10 times more than what it would cost me to invest money into either one, generating more quantity so I can sift faster and get through those to get to those yeses, or generating a higher quality resource. Like if you're going to give up your time, and let me ask you guys this, what is money? Money is a representation of what? It's a material, it's a piece of paper, but it's a piece of paper that represents what? We use it to trade and receive value. So I'm going to give you this piece of paper because I value the thing that you have and you value the thing that I have, et cetera. So we're going to use this as a tool of exchange. Does that make sense? So money though is a representation of your time. Time is money. You get money to buy back more of your time. So if you are spending your time, you are essentially spending your money and you're building a business that you have no ownership in. I'm just talking in general sales models. It's almost like you're spending, especially when I see people investing into a business model where you have no ownership in. If you're spending your money and your time, Do you see what I'm getting at here? It's almost like you're spending twice as much of your time. You're like doubling the amount of your life that you're investing into something that you don't own. Does that make any sense? Would you, if somebody said, hey, listen, I want you to spend two times your life in my business, and all I'm going to give out to you is a 60% upfront cash flow, a 70% upfront cash flow. Even 100%, is 100% upfront enough for you to give? Imagine every hour of your life. Now somebody says, I'm going to take 2 hours for the price of one. Does that make sense? You guys understand what I'm getting at here? Because I see a lot of people in the sales world, they invest their money and you're investing your time. Nothing is ever free. So they'll be paying for some type of incentive for their sales team. They'll be investing into what literally, like, your cost of life is technically contributing to you funding your business. So everything that you're spending money on is you supporting your business that you have no ownership over. Is there an equity opportunity in the path that you're taking right now? In some way, shape, or form. Like, if the company is the company already been sold? Is there a liquid opportunity for you to get involved in? Like, what is your life worth to you? And it was literally like the thought on my mind is super simple. The low quality lead work equals loss of life. So that's my biggest value proposition to helping people in sales is pay the price up front. What is it going to cost you to get a better lead? I'll tell you what it costs you. It costs you a little more money and a little more time. Some people think it's going to cost you $1 million and it's going to cost you 100 years to get a better lead. Those are just losers. It's the losers out here in the sales space that are shortcutting the entire system and making individuals, because 98% of people are losers. They're soft. And so they shortcut and create this horrible reputation for the industry in general, for the sales industry in general, and they have people believing that all leads are garbage. No, a lot of people are garbage. And so they take these shortcuts on generating these low quality resources, and they'll tell everybody, you don't go generate your own leads. Don't go put time and money into generating your own leads. Don't go put time and money into leads. It's too hard. It's going to cost you your whole life. You're going to live a slow death by thinking and believing that it ain't the leads. It is the leads. There is somebody out there that specifically wants to buy your product or service as long as you have a pretty decent product and service. And it looks like some of you guys are in insurance, and I don't know what you're involved in, Keenan, but like, I imagine maybe you're all insurance. Who knows? But let's assume people are in different markets. Let's assume somebody's doing pest, solar, somebody's doing medical sales. If you just spend a couple extra bucks, because the cost per lead goes up when you're really spending more time doing your research, like hunting. Anybody ever go hunting? So I don't know if I made this reference on social media. Imagine you're going hunting and you tell somebody, I'm going to go deer hunting. Hey, let's go deer hunting, bro. Let's go deer hunting. All right, let's go deer hunting. And then they pull out a fishing pole and take you to a creek. I thought we were going deer hunting. You pull out a fishing pole, took us to the ocean, bro. Like, we're in the absolute wrong place. And you just accept it. Oh, we'll just get what we get. We'll just accept what we accept. You're being stupid. Like, I apologize. There's no other way to put it. You're being retarded. There's no other way to put it. And that was me for years of my life, just believing, hey, we'll just take this shotgun approach. Jack saw the video yesterday. We'll take this shotgun approach. We'll accept what we get, and we just got to work way harder. You don't have enough life to sift through the billions of people on a manual basis. That's why, like, the door knockers, they're dumb too. They're even dumber, I think, than the virtual cold callers. That's essentially what people are doing right now. They're cold calling with nothing in it for them, just some upfront commission. And when you work a low quality lead and the product gets returned, you get a chargeback. I don't care what business you're in. Very few businesses have like chargeback protection where it's like, oh yeah, sell it. If the customer returns the product or service and we give them their money back, you keep the money. What business model could afford to do that? None that I know of. I don't think I'm going to be able to run a call up here tomorrow, so I want to leave you guys with this last thing that I got from my Bible study this morning. But for me, all of my faith studies all translates into business. And it's Matthew 28, and it's really 2-7. But Matthew 28:2 starts. So it goes, suddenly there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven, rolled aside the stone, and sat on it. His face shone like lightning. His clothing was white as snow. The guards shook with fear, and they saw him, and they fell into a dead faint. Then the angel spoke to the women and said, "Don't be afraid." He said, "I know you're looking for Jesus who was crucified. He isn't here. He has risen from the dead, just as he said would happen. Come see where his body was lying. Now go quickly and tell disciples that he has risen from the dead, and he is going ahead of you to Galilee. You will see him there. Remember what I've told you." I wanted to share this, and I translated it to business for me, for everyone, to life. And what I got from this was we're all made in the likeness and the image of God. Well, typically everybody's faith, you generally have this understanding of looking up to your God and admiring your faith and realizing there is a higher power, and I'm called myself to be more like my God, my belief, my faith. And so with my belief in Jesus Christ, in my faith, in believing in God, I'm reading this morning and I'm thinking to myself in regard to life in general. I'm made in the image of God. In my journey of life, in your journey of life, when you seek God in every aspect of your life, you're going to die to this world. And I'm reading this, the stone was rolled away, Jesus was crucified, and then he was buried essentially in this grave where they put him in this like actual cave, put a stone in front of the cave. The stone was rolled away. You're going to have people coming to look for you in your life, and you're gone. I'm not where I used to be. I think like this is my favorite saying. I just keep, like every message, I just keep going back to, I'm not where I used to be. That old me is dead. Think about leveling up your production. What it took you to get to writing a couple deals in a month, you have to murder that dude to discover the new dude within you that can write hundreds of thousands of dollars in the form of production, in the form of business, in the form of your relationship. The dude when you first started out and you met your girl and you didn't know how to properly handle arguments, communication on what you were building, what your relationship was going to look like, what you didn't like, what she liked, and like how you guys are going to handle finances, how we're going to handle this. Like that old you, the baby you, the immature you has to die. That has to die. And those individuals, they come looking, Jack, where's the old Jack? That Jack's gone. What are you talking about? That Keaton's gone. This is the new me. I've been resurrected. For me, it's like this directly corresponds with my faith. In my faith, in my pursuit of my relationship with God, when I'm pursuing God in every aspect of my life with as much passion as I can, as like focus as I can, it forces me to evolve and almost prunes. You guys know what pruning is? Like in a garden where they cut back the branches. You got to prune your life. It's like the Holy Spirit pruning my life. It's like, we got to get rid of that person. We got to get you out of that environment. And you would like the worldly you wants to hold on to it. Well, I need that. You don't need that. God wants to take you to some place better. You don't need that ex. God's got something better for you. You don't need that old job. You're scared holding on to the job that you have right now. And God wants to take you through the Red Sea of like, everything could come literally crashing in on me. What if I get stuck in the desert of wandering? I'm sitting across from Ronnie right now. He went 9 months not making any money in the restaurant industry. He wasn't thinking about insurance. I guarantee he wasn't thinking about insurance. Randomly came across insurance, wandering 9 months. What am I going to do? I bet he was praying. God, please help me. I got a family of 3 and I don't know what to do. Just trust me, Ronnie. You don't see it yet, but I got a blessing coming for you. Leave. Let that piece of you die. Fall into my arms and believe. You just got to believe. I promise you, I told an older man yesterday, we were on the phone and I was like, hey bro, the place that you started is not the place that God's going to let you in. I don't know what it is in my soul right now, but you started there and you've been in that company for 20 plus years. God's got like that. You're just getting started though. I think that wasn't even the beginning for you. I think that was the preparation, dog. Anybody have good cooks in their family? You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're a chef, bro. Like sometimes you just gotta sometimes that sucker just gotta marinate for a couple nights, for a couple days. Like some of y'all, you just been in a marination season. I could look at the last 6 years of my life and the $7 million on my 1099s and essentially minimal money to show for it as a loss. God, my life, like what'd you do with my life? God, what happened with my life? God, what'd you do with my life? God, I'm not questioning God. I'm thanking God because I'm looking at it as like, you prepared me and you led me through this season of my life that now I can look back and save others and help others. I went through that. Let me help you through this. I went through that. Let me help you through this. That old relationship, that ain't your last relationship. That old job, that ain't gonna be your final job. That old money ain't gonna be your last money. That old health, that's not gonna be your final form. God still has more in store for you. He's got better people in store for you. He's got better money in store for you. It's coming. It's coming. The stone's been rolled away. You're not even where you used to be. You're going to lose the old jobs. You're going to lose the old relationships. You're going to lose your old ways. People are going to come looking for you. The right people will find you where you're going. The wrong people will be looking where you used to be. All the losers, they go back to where I used to be. The Tristan that used to get angry over everything. Emotionally unstable, angry, upset at the world. Why were my parents taken away from me and sent to jail when I was young? Why did I have to grow up on food stamps for half my life when the first half we had access to jets and money, and the second half of my childhood, it was food stamps and living in my grandparents' living room? The old people, they go look there. But God brought me here, and this ain't where I'm stopping. This ain't where he gonna stop me. You get stopped here, when you start treating this like the end and you start letting them old people bring you back down, then it's the end. It's only the end if you like, I don't know. Man, I'll put it this way. It's only the end when you don't have any spiritual huevos. Like my God ain't a soft God. Like you need to realize your level up, you being the David, and this David and Goliath story is going to require you to get any weapon. David got a slingshot and get any weapon and go step out on that field, and your level up is in you stepping out. If you stay in, you'll always face what you've always faced. It'll be old money forever. It'll be the same problems over and over again, like a 9-to-5, a glorified entrepreneur. I'm just figuring out sales. I hate those salespeople. You've been in the same thing for 20 years. You haven't made over $500,000 in a year. You haven't made over $1 million. You've been doing the same thing, and you never question. You couldn't step. Like shame on your lack of faith. Do you even have any faith? How have you been telling people you've been 100% commission and you figured out how to build a business? You stayed in the same spot. You didn't think you were capable of. You have one life. You got one shot, and you thought like, I'm gonna just spend the next 20, 30 years of my life doing this, like figuring out the same problems. And you thought you were gonna be a dog. You thought you were gonna be a billionaire off that. Shame on you. That's not faith. It's a disgrace. Don't be a disgrace to your father. Young men. I figured out, emotionally, like, what's the biggest driver of men? We want to prove our dad's right or wrong. Most men, I started to dissect myself. Why was I so angry growing up? It's a combination of both. It's like this love-anger relationship we have to our dads. We think about anytime we disappoint you. As a man, you never want to disappoint your dad, regardless of the relationship that you have with your pops. I want to prove him right, and I want to prove him wrong, that I could be better, I could be more. And now you got to start thinking too, as you're a young man, guess what you want to have? You want to have a son. Imagine, I'll leave you with this. Imagine looking your son in his eyes and saying, son, your father was a quitter. Your father didn't have any faith in doing more in his life and becoming the greatest version that you could mentally, becoming an absolute genius, physically, becoming an absolute specimen, spiritually, becoming a man of God, feared by any who try to oppose me, becoming an absolute financially free billionaire. Your father, instead, he quit and he justified to himself, I'll give all the risk to another man. I'll submit to another man. That's what you do when you don't choose to level up. And a lot of entrepreneurs, they like to justify it because I'm in sales. I'm leveling up. Well, you've been leveling up for the last 20 years and have been in the same spot. So what definition of leveling up are you reading in the Webster's Dictionary? Because you've been in the same spot. We would define that as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a new result is what? Insanity. Some of you guys don't have sales jobs, you have insanity jobs. And you have insanity leaders that are just great at manipulating you and making you think that, yes, you're going to be a billionaire. I keep making $1 million a year and I'm at the top of this company and you're going to somehow make 1,000 times more than me. No. Okay, well, show me where that happens. You would be better off figuring out magic, real magic. You would be better off pulling pigeons out of your ass. I got to hop on another pod. Thank you guys for hopping on last minute. Peace.
Question.
No questions. Now go ahead.
So with the equity, how big do you have to get equity in your new company?
You know what? I'm talking speculatively based off my, I have not sold a company. So in regard to like equity deals and everything like that, you would have to talk to someone that has sold. But you want to negotiate because it's got to be fair. Like it's got to be pure capitalism. Like Ronnie's building up $100 million business. There's no way in hell he doesn't. However you want to define it as equity, there's no way in hell if you build up something that's generating $100 million of value that there's some type of profit margin, someone would buy it off of him for a multiple based off of how much automation there is and how involved he has to be. If he doesn't have to be that involved and it's generating, let's say it's generating a $10 million profit after all of the, EBITDA amortization, all that, crazy stuff that goes in there. Somebody might say, hey, Ronnie, we'll give you a 3x multiple because this happened, that happened, da-da-da-da-da. So that's $30 million. So it might not be like he got equity in the company that he's technically contributing to in regard to if his company goes liquid that he's contributing to, but somebody will still buy what he's built. Does that make sense? There's forms of like what we loosely call as like equity, because equity is the value that you have within the asset that you're contributing or building to. Does that make sense? That would be my definition. Is that kind of right, Ronnie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be kind of my take on it. But there's probably a lot of losers out there that want like the handout system. Give me equity. What have you done? Have you built a $100 million business?
That's what I was about to say. You got to get there first.
Yeah. So it's like, because we keep calling, it's like, I keep talking equity, but it's like, I got to go build something. What is my shit worth right now? You know what I mean? Like, couple acorns and a cheeseburger. Here you go, dog. You know what I mean? Like, let's get to building. So I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Peace.